Welcome back to The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Previously, I did a few miscellaneous things now that I'm back to being an adult, and this time, we're actually going to be moving on. I almost said final temple, and then I was trying to change it to second temple, which is also equally incorrect. It is the fourth temple that we've done as an adult, the Shadow Temple. We've heard about it from Impa. You know, she was also a Sheikah. And I was feeling so ready for this recording, and immediately I just start messing everything up. But, you know what? Whatever. That doesn't matter. I'm ready for this dungeon. This is where I usually stop all my playthroughs of this game. Not necessarily because I dislike the Shadow Temple, just because I guess I stopped feeling it at this point. I kind of blaze through the entirety of the game at that point, and then I get to here, and I'm like, I'm gonna take a break, and then I come back from the break, or then I take the break, and then I forget I was actually playing the game, and then I come back from the break, and I'm like, wow, I should actually just start the game over, and then I start the game over, and the same thing happens. I'm like, I'll take a break here, and I'll play for a few months, and then I come back, whatever. The point is, welcome to the Shadow Temple. We needed to get the Lens of Truth for a reason. As you can see, there are some walls in here that are fake, but we wouldn't know about it unless we had the Lens of Truth, or we hugged the wall a lot. I assume you can complete the Shadow Temple without the Lens of Truth, but trust me, it will be a pain. I'll talk about this a little bit later, but there are some things which are a little bit tricksy, and you need the Lens of Truth for, or else you're going to have a really bad time. For example, invisible moving platforms. Yeah, trust me, going on those without the Lens of Truth, not a fun time. Probably not going to be a fun time. So, I think this is actually going to be the first time I'll really get to use... That's not necessarily what I wanted to happen, but it's going to be the first time I really get to use the Big Goron sword, because after I got it, I went back to being a child. So, I guess you're finally able to see what the Big Goron sword hype is all about. Usually it would take like 4 spin attacks to do that, so the fact that it only took 2 is actually quite great. There are a few keys here, and they're about as annoying as ever, so there we go. This should give me a small key, I believe. I always end up missing one small key, and because it's in a weird area. So I'm hoping I'm not gonna have to go through that, because a lot of the time when I do miss that small key, I have to backtrack quite a bit, and that's fun for not the whole family. In fact, it's fun for no one. So I'm gonna try to not let that happen. There's nothing else for me to really do in the catacomb section of this area, really. I don't believe, at least. Also, as a side note, you can actually use... Also, whenever you go up to an invisible wall, Navi essentially tells you that there's an invisible wall every single time and stops you in your tracks. So if you thought that all the annoying things stopped after you got past the tutorial, no, Navi is still equally annoying even past the tutorial. And there are also some walls with glowing eyes. Those tell you information, which, fun fact, I don't need to know. I know what's going on in this dungeon. There's nothing in this room, really? Is there really nothing in this room? Okay, no, back here. I was a little bit confused for a second. This might take me back to the main room. No. So I previously talked about the fact that I may not have actually mentioned it because I wanted it to be a little bit of a secret. But fun fact, Dead Hand comes back. Yeah, we're redoing this boss fight really short after we did it the first time. The only real difference is that the hands are much closer together, and now we can completely cheese it because we have the Big Goron sword. I usually don't have the Big Goron sword, but now I do! So I can do a crap ton of damage to him really easily. I can also get rid of the hands extremely quickly as well. It's actually kind of funny how easy this is probably going to be. I might take damage. I'm not going to say it's going to be really easy, because whenever I say that, I'm always wrong. But this boss fight is infinitely less challenging than it was when we were a child, so don't worry about it too much. It's still really creepy. He has all that blood on him. He has a really gaping mouth, which is obviously probably not a good thing. So just don't worry about it too much, though. It's not that bad. Visually still really creepy, but now that you face him once and you know exactly what to do and you have better equipment for the situation, we might actually see him getting to attack us. No, we didn't. I thought I was actually kind of screwed there, but no, I wasn't. That worked out pretty well. I don't think I took any damage, which is nice. I don't think I took any damage while I was a child doing it either. Also, that's a little bit creepy, the way he actually disappears. He doesn't just lay there and disappear. He kind of convulses over and over and disappears. Also, if anyone has any idea what Dead Hand might be, I might do some research and put it up on the screen. But Dead Hand is a very interesting creature, and I really, really want to know the story behind Dead Hand. I never really thought about it until now, but, yeah, we got the new item of the Shadow Temple. I kind of forgot we got it this early, and I kind of didn't notice when I grabbed it because I was too busy talking about a creepy boy over there. This is not really an item. Similar to the Iron Boots, I went to the wrong room. Yes. Similar to the Iron Boots, I went to the wrong room. Fantastic. This area is a little bit confusing, specifically due to the fact that a lot of the walls look exactly the same, so I don't necessarily know if I'm getting closer to coming back to the main room, but whatever. The Iron Boots are an equipment item, and similar to that, the Hover Boots, which we got, are also an equipment item. Now, the Hover Boots may just sound like better normal boots. You know, you can float over the air when you wear the Hover Boots. It's not the case. Similar to the Iron Boots, which makes you go slower, there are a few negatives to the Hover Boots. One of which being, he's very, very slippery once you put on the Hover Boots. Don't let Link put on the Hover Boots for too long. I actually remember a lot of people were really mad during the Game Grumps playthrough of this game, which I don't particularly watch the Game Grumps anymore. I used to a lot, but then I just kind of didn't, I don't know. I just kind of, I don't want to say grew out of their comedy, but I was just not interested past a certain point. I was like, oh, this is so funny, back when I was younger, but now that I don't know, now that I'm a little bit older and my sense of humor has changed a little bit, I'm just not that interested in them anymore. But the point is, Aaron put on the Hover Boots for the entire game up until the final mini dungeon. I didn't push it that far, but at least I got to show you what happened when you pushed this to the wrong area. If you use the Lens of Truth, you'll be able to see that, whoa, some of these skulls don't actually exist, but this one does. What you want to do is pull this to the Skull of Truth. If you don't, well, you already saw what happened. You don't really have to continue to hold the analog stick whenever you're pulling this back. I made that mistake, and that's what actually cost me falling into that pit. You do just want to flick back on it once, and then Link will continue to pull it. Once you get to the right skull, you'll be able to open this up. And fun fact, we get to use the Hover Boots now. I really do think the Hover Boots are a very interesting concept, but they're not used very often, and they're just so impractical in every other situation. I don't see using the Hover Boots very often. There are a few enemies, I believe, that are invisible. I'm not exactly sure about that, because my memory about this temple is a little bit iffy. Not terrible, but a little bit iffy, specifically due to the fact that I usually stop all my playthroughs here. I didn't drop that, I threw it, but okay. It's actually times like this where I surprisingly missed the system in Wind Waker, where there were two different buttons, one for dropping and one for, whatever it is, throwing. I was trying to think of the right word there, and, wasn't doing a fantastic job. This room is fine. There are, guillotine's not the right word, what is it, scythes. Scythes attached to reapers that are just spinning around in this room. Similar to the ice cavern, you can duck under them, they're really not that bad to deal with. I really, really, really wish I knew about the whole ducking under them thing while playing through this the first time, because unlike the ice temple, or the ice cavern is what it's truly called, there are quite a lot of things that can kind of mess you up here. There's a lot of things within your way, and it can get a little bit difficult. It's not terrible by any means, but it can get a little bit more challenging than when in the ice cavern. So be a little bit careful there. Don't assume, oh, this is exactly the same as the ice cavern. Grabbing some rupees, avoiding some really easy blades. No, it does get a little bit more challenging, specifically because there are a lot more things you need to avoid. So just keep that in mind. I didn't duck fast enough there. I'm kind of sad about that, but whatever. There might have been a small key I missed in the first room. I hope not, because I really don't want to have to go back, but I'm feeling like I missed something. And that feeling could be completely wrong, like it usually is, but I'm just not exactly sure. Okay, so there's something I can do down here. This looked like a very conspicuous area, so I was quite sure there was something I wasn't seeing there. There's nothing I can do in here just yet, but this does show off something that we'll be able to come down to do much later. There's kind of a ship here. There's a block that I'll be able to move out of the way later. That'll actually bring me back to that room a lot quicker than the normal way you have to get there. So remember that's there, because I will say right now, when you die to a boss in a dungeon, or when you die in a dungeon in general, you are warped back to the very first room. Not the last room you entered or anything, the very first room. So if you do have troubles on a boss, it's not like, yeah, that's fine, I'm just going to respawn right in front of the boss again. No, you respawn with 3 hearts, which is the minimum you need to not get the beeping sound effect, and then you have to trek all the way back to the boss room. So it is a pretty big deal when you do die, so be careful about that. I never actually mentioned that, I don't believe. And if I did, then I'm dumb. And that's usually the case, so just don't take my word for the fact that I didn't say that already. Anyway. I keep forgetting that I actually do have a list of the songs I wrote down, because it was proving tiring to have to go back into the menu to check the song list every single time that I couldn't remember a song. Oh, by the way, Gibdos are back along with Redeads, so yay, 2 of the same enemies, just slightly visually different in the same area. Fun. Again, I'm not too big of a fan of Redeads, or not Redeads, Gibdos. They're fine, but just, you know, I'd rather have a new enemy that's interesting rather than a reskin. And I feel every single game suffers from a few reskinned enemies. I've been playing a few RPGs recently, and they definitely do have some just recolors that are uninteresting. I'm talking about literally everything but Ocarina of Time this episode, but there's not really a whole lot interesting going on. We're just using our Lens of Truth to go down different paths. This is more of a dungeon that plays with your mind. It's trying to get you to say, is there something there? Is there something not there? I'm very confused. It's stuff like that. Okay, right over here. There are multiple things I need to use my bombs for in this room. As you can see, obviously, BMOs have returned from not only my... what am I trying to say? They returned from my childhood, and now they're here to haunt me as an adult. I threw that bomb. God dang it. But whatever. So there's this BMOs to kill, which obviously uses bombs. And then there's this wall over here, which exists, but you can blow it up. Which I actually feel kind of bad about doing that, because there are a lot of just skulls there. Which I'm not sure how good I feel about blowing up the remains of people, but whatever. I believe that there are enemies that pop out of like literally nowhere. Yeah, as you can see right there. Look at this. Sneaky game developers. You can see right there, something is kind of popping out of the top there, and that is a Skulltula. Not Skulltula. What are you called? I don't know. I was too late to check the bio that Navi would give me. But be very careful. Just inch your way along here. This is really the only place that big Skulltulas are located in this dungeon that is unable to be seen. And what's so dumb about it is that like the ceiling isn't even... You can't even see through the ceilings that are fake and have the big Skulltulas in them with the Lens of Truth. It's all just guessing where these guys might be and just inching along this hallway. And I really did have a lot of problems with this first time through, not necessarily because it was difficult to understand, but because I was dying a lot to the boss of this dungeon, and I didn't know that there was a shortcut. And I also just wanted to get more hearts, so I kept coming down here and accidentally running into big Skulltulas, stuff like that. Apparently there are wall masters here, so I might as well start moving as fast as possible. There are a lot of creepy elements within this dungeon. There's nothing over there. You tricked me. It looked like there was something interesting. Oh, by the way, I was going to say guillotines earlier, but yeah, there are actual guillotines in this dungeon. They will do damage to you. It's not like an instant death. It's not like it's going to reset... if you get hit by the guillotine, it's not like it's going to reset you back to the beginning of the room. It's nothing like that. It is... I forgot that I'm using the Big Goron sword, which I'm actually going to switch out of, because I'm more interested in using the Master Sword when it comes to these guys, because if you can block, or shield, whichever you want to call it, it makes this fight a whole lot easier. This is just another Stalfos. It's really nothing too crazy. It's just on a smaller platform this time, and sometimes he can actually back off the platform and just fall off and despawn. It's the most fun thing to do with this guy. I'm not doing a very fantastic job of it because I forgot about doing that until now. Fun. But I just think that's nice to mention. Like, you can despawn that Stalfos, and it's a lot of fun to do. There are platforms here that cannot be seen. It looks like you can get over here, but, you know, there's nothing that really allows you to do so. But, oh, there are, because there are platforms that are invisible. It's nothing new or interesting. It's the same Lens of Truth stuff over and over again, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just takes a lot more searching and trial and error to figure out exactly where you need to go. Also, this is actually pretty neat. I will say that they do a few interesting things with the Lens of Truth, this being one of them. The scythes are now invisible, so fun fact, you can't just duck under them extremely easily anymore. You do actually have to use your Lens of Truth and waste a bit of magic to figure out exactly where the scythes are and when you should duck under them. It's pretty neat. I do think that's an interesting use of the Lens of Truth. You don't see that very often. It's mostly just, hey, this platform's invisible, and now you have to use the Lens of Truth to get over there to an area that looks extremely obvious to get to, but then you realize, oh wait, I can't get there. I don't know. It's pretty simple stuff with the Lens of Truth, but I do like when they do interesting things. I believe that I will have to kill all these keys, which is quite an annoyance, but I'll do it anyway, because I do want to see what's beyond, what is beyond this point. I believe there might be a key, so that's kind of just a little bit important. Just a tiny itty bitty bit. So, definitely want to check that out. Yeah, that's how you English. Good job. Good job, me. There's one more over here. I thought he was invisible for a second because I accidentally put on my Lens of Truth, and then I saw the keys, and I didn't see it before, so I was a little bit confused. I was like, huh, invisible keys. I guess that is a way to make the enemy more interesting. But thank God that isn't actually the case. There's another gold Skulltula. Fantastic. Despite what my sigh may sound like, I am actually really happy about the gold Skulltula. Not about the money, because I really don't need that, but I am happy about the gold Skulltula, so I'll take that with kindness and gratitude. But that 5 rupees can kind of just get out of my wallet. Actually, it wasn't even in my wallet to begin with, because it just disappeared into nothingness. Great. Great. I believe later games actually do make it so that if you don't have enough space in your wallet, you will just say, but I can't carry this rupee amount right now, and you'll put the rupees back into the chest. So that's pretty interesting. So if you have a maxed out rupee count later in Zelda games, if this is like a really annoying part for you, and you're like, God, why do I... Come on, man. Like, why do I have to waste these rupees that I could be getting because I am just good about not spending cash? You can, later on in different Zelda games, just put the money back into the chest if you have a maxed out rupee count. I believe if you have like 4 more rupees to max out your rupee count and you pick up a 5 rupee or blue rupee, then that will just end up maxing out your rupee count and you won't put it back in. But if you have a maxed out rupee count, you'll put the rupees back in. That's really unimportant though, because it doesn't really... Oh, leave. Jump off. Jump off. Come on. Backflip. Fall off. You were so close. Do it, please. Do it for me, please. Come on. Come on. You got it. Back off. Please. The only thing that happened there is I wasted a bunch of my hearts. I wanted you to back off. I was hoping he would take a wider stance and kind of move around me and just fall off, but it didn't work out, which is actually really sad. I guess he's somewhat intelligent, which is depressing, because I really wanted to show that off. It's a lot of fun, and I really recommend doing it if you have the chance. I can do it easier in the 3DS version, so it might be a difference with AI there, I think. Though I believe with the 3DS version of this game, they actually did just use the same engine, so there might not be that many changes, and that's also probably why the 3DS version just feels so close to the original. I will say, a lot of my problems with the HD attempts to remake Ocarina of Time and, let's say, Unity, is that the game just does not feel like Ocarina of Time at all. And that is a big point of contention for me specifically, because if I'm playing Ocarina of Time, I want the game to feel like Ocarina of Time. I also just might as well... do I want to use a fairy? I'm fine. I can probably get hearts later on. I'm not that scared about dying right now. Specifically because I have a crap ton of fairies, so I'm not that spooked about it. There's one more somewhere. It's probably within the BMOS, and I just need to kill it. Sometimes there are things like that where an enemy is actually encasing one of the silver rupees you need to get, so... Not what I wanted to do, but okay. Fine, drop it anyway. Yep, there it is. Some enemies do encase the last silver rupee you need to get, or a silver rupee you need to get. So I'd recommend killing a lot of enemies if you are in a room that you need to get a lot of silver rupees in. Or at least that's the way I see it. You probably don't need to kill Keese. I'll be honest with you. Keese probably aren't holding a silver rupee, but anything else which is kind of stationary, yeah, it's worth checking out. There's a sign here, which we usually don't see very much within temples. I think I saw one in the Forest Temple, and that's about it. Only one with the Eye of Truth will find the stone umbrella that protects against the rain of blades. So, these are actually new. If this falls on you, it will reset you back to the beginning of the room as well as doing a few parts of damage is the word I was looking for, the phrase I was looking for. So you can't go through this because these things are alternating extremely quickly. But if you use your lens of truth, like the sign told you to do, which kind of solves the puzzle for you, but whatever, you can pull out this block. But this is really where the real puzzle starts kind of appearing. There's no really set place for where you can take this block and where you can't. So what you want to do is push this block. This is kind of a slow puzzle, but that's the way a lot of Ocarina of Time's puzzles are, to be honest. This block will actually stop these things from falling. So what you want to do is push this just enough. You're like right around there. No, a little bit farther, just a little bit farther. Right there should be fine. Yep. It stops both of them from falling. You want to push it right into the middle. It's a very sweet spot. And that allows you to pass here without any issues. It's actually kind of a difficult puzzle to figure out before on a first-time playthrough, because you might try to push it all the way through to try to protect you, but because it falls so much and takes so long to push the block, you will actually get hit by the spike thing that you push the block in front of. What I'm trying to say is, if I push that forward anymore in this direction, in the direction I'm facing, I would actually push it so far that I would inevitably get slapped by those spikes and taken back to the beginning of the room. That's what I was trying to say. There's also another gold skulltula here. I believe there are quite a few gold skulltulas in this area, so I might be able to get up to 40, depending on how many gold skulltulas I have at the moment, which I might as well check. Might as well check to make sure. I know I checked the last episode, but it's been a while. 38. Okay, so 2 more, and I will be a-okay on my way to getting another interesting thing from the gold skulltula house. And right over here is another chest. There should be a small key again. Arrows. So that's not what I wanted, but that's fine. There's nothing else I can really do in here, I don't think, other than I might be able to hook shot up to somewhere. Maybe, but I believe I can come into this room later. Possibly. Maybe. That's what I thought the case was. I might just have to hook shot up here at some point. Like, now? I don't know. This room's always a little bit tricky for me. I don't know why. I can't hook shot onto those, despite the fact that those are wood, because they're considered to be metal. Crazy. Yeah, there's nothing that really allows me to hook shot up to these. I can... I want to try something. Whether or not this is a smart idea, well, that'll be left to what's going to happen next, but I want to try this at least. Can I jump up here? No, I can grab it, so that's not going to work out. I thought it would. I was hoping I could grab onto the block, jump up onto it, and then after that, I would be able to jump onto the upper path, but nope, that's not the way that worked out. That should be good. Oh, come on. I know there is a way I can get up here. I know for a fact. I know for a fact, and I just can't find it. And, you know, usually when I can't find something, the lens of truth comes to the rescue. So I'm going to look around here for a little bit, but if I can't find anything, I'll just cut, and I'll let you know that I couldn't find anything. Never mind. I remember what I need to do. I was being quite the idiot. What I want to do is pull the block all the way through, because it's slightly too large for me to be able to jump onto. But if I pull it up right here and pull it as far as it can go, now I can climb onto it and jump up onto it and get over here. Yeah, I'm really dumb. I'm sorry about that. That's a really easy puzzle, and I just forgot how to do it. It's the easiest ones that end up being the most difficult to remember. Trust me. Trust me. 5 more bucks that I don't need at all. I was really hoping again that would be a small key, but guess what? It's not a small key. That being said, there is a chest over there that I can hook shot over to and see what's inside. Drum roll. It's less of a drum roll, more of a slap. A small key. I knew there was a small key in this room. If I didn't get one, I was going to be very, very sad. Yeah, it's everything I have to do here. I can't go anywhere else. So we're done here. Now we can go back to the main room and explore what else is over here. God, I love getting hit by those sliders. It's real fun. It's fair. I'm gonna be honest. It's fair. Every single time I get hit by those, it's my own fault. But it does get annoying after a while. I'm not gonna lie to you. But So now that we have another small key, we can enter this room. Again, I feel like I'm low on one small key, but we'll see. We'll see. And right here, there are invisible spikes on the floor as well as some redeads. So that's a big bundle of, hey, that's not fun. Arrows don't do anything to redeads. I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure there wasn't an easier way to kill them. Fun fact, there's not. There's not an easier way to kill them. Here, I'd recommend putting on your hover boots and walking around this room. The hover boots do have more uses than just letting you hover over things, which I guess really doesn't make a lot of sense because I'm still hovering over these things, so it's still doing its basic purpose, but it's doing it in a slightly different, more interesting way. There are spikes on the ground, again, that are invisible. You can walk over them with the hover boots. It's pretty nice. I actually do enjoy that that aspect of this area, this room. It gives the hover boots a little bit more usefulness, because even in the dungeon that you need them for, that you get them in, they're pretty pointless. The Lens of Truth gets more use than the hover boots. It's kind of weird. I'm not a big fan of the hover boots. I don't mind them per se, but they're so underwhelming, and I feel like there are a lot more situations that could be used for that would make the game a lot more interesting. And I actually do need the hover boots to get to the next dungeon, so I do need to do this dungeon and then the next one in order. The first 3 dungeons could be done in relatively whatever order you wanted to if you went into, let's say, the Forest Temple, got the bow and arrow, and then left the Forest Temple immediately. Why would you do that? I don't know. It's extremely inefficient, but you could do that if you wanted to, and then you could go to the Fire Temple and then, or the Water Temple. Actually, fun fact, this is something worth mentioning. I went to the Water Temple on my first playthrough of the game before I went to the Fire Temple. I heard that the Water Temple was more annoying than the Fire Temple. I said, well, alright then, let's get that out of the way first. And I did it first. It's definitely possible to interchange the Water Temple and Fire Temple, mainly because the long shot's not necessary for the Fire Temple, and the Megaton Hammer is not necessary for the Water Temple. So you can interchange your Fire Temple or Water Temple depending on what you want to do. I pretty much just go for the Fire Temple first since it's more fun, but you can do whatever you want. If you want to get the Water Temple out of the way, then, you know what, by gosh diddly darn, do it. Don't ask me what that means, but do it. You might be wondering, how did I know there was something there? I've played this dungeon enough. I said my memory wasn't too great, but there are certain things I do remember, like, oh, if I look right up there, there's a hookshot point that's invisible. Yeah, that is something I remember for whatever reason. I don't know why that specifically is something I remember, but that is something I remember. There's also that over there, so I do kind of want to go over there first. That didn't work out too well. I'd also like to note that there are a few overlay issues when it comes to the hover boots, specifically when you do walk over nothing. You will actually see that the hover boots has kind of a little animation going on. It's pretty neat, but if you, for example, I actually already showed it off, but I want to show it off just again to make it a little bit more obvious. If I can actually make the hookshot do a small... Okay, hold on. That was extremely annoying. Again, the N64 aiming is not great. Sometimes it's very precise, sometimes not at all. But if you walk with hover boots while you have the Lens of Truth on, you'll notice that there's kind of an overlay issue. That might not be for everywhere. I do want to make sure that I'm being correct in my information giving. That might be specifically because... Yeah, I think that might have been specifically because this was blocking the view of the... I don't know, whatever, the texture that came out from the bottom of the hover boots. I don't know exactly why that's the case. Mostly, again, just an overlay issue, which, by the way, this game has a decent amount of. If you emulate the game, you're like, wow, there are a lot of overlay issues. That's usually not an issue with the emulation itself. That's usually an issue with Ocarina of Time itself. So just keep that in mind. This room should have the small key I need in it, but if it doesn't, look who's doing a little bit of backtracking. I hope it's not me. There's something that I can use now, and I might end up using it when before I go into the boss temple, because I don't want the boss temple. Before I go into the boss battle of this dungeon, it's Furor's Wind. I got it, and I explained it, and I never used it, but I think it's worth explaining. By the way, the Big Goron Sword for Keese, it's a little bit overkill, just a little bit. This room's pretty interesting. There are more bomb flowers here, and what you want to do is throw the bomb into that skull, wait for it to blow up, and there you go. The skull circle thingy, I don't know, blows up. The room opens back up so I can leave again, and there should be a small key just kind of sitting here. Or over here. The small key, like, flies all over the room whenever you blow that up, so sometimes you get the small key in very strange places, to say the least. Also, fun fact, another gold skulltula. One hit from the Big Oron Sword will get rid of the Gold Skulltula. So the Big Oron Sword does at most, or not at most, at least 2 times the damage of the Master Sword. I believe it does exactly 2 times the damage. I talked about it back in the episode where I did get the Big Oron Sword, but if you didn't watch that, there you go. That's some information you might have not known. Let's come back here because we do have that small key. I seem to have the exact number of small keys I want and need. It's not like I can hoard small keys in this dungeon, I don't believe. From my memory, there's never a point where you have like 3 or more small keys like there usually are in larger, more complex dungeons. This is just, hey, you have to use your Lens of Truth. And you know what, I will be honest, this is fair. The fact that they're forcing you to use your Lens of Truth to explore, and that's why they don't let you hoard small keys, because then you could go into these different doors, but if you don't have the proper amount of small keys, then you're like, oh man, there must be an area I haven't gone to, and I think that's a good design choice. Also, there's a lot of wind turbines here, and they push you back. What you need to do is use the iron boots. I was forgetting the name for a second. You need to use the iron boots to allow you to walk past the wind turbines. They do turn off eventually, but it's just so much easier to use the iron boots, and it's a little bit slower, and you do have to deal with enemies and stuff while using the iron boots, which isn't fun, but it's just so much easier than having to actually deal with the stop-and-go nature of the wind turbines. And also, I think it's impossible if you don't use the iron boots, but whatever. That eye cannot be shot. That eye will just spit fire out at you, so be careful about that. And this room is going to require me to take off my iron boots because I really don't want to deal with re-deads with my iron boots on, to be perfectly honest. Alright, let's get rid of you guys first, just in case. Just in case you guys prove... No, actually, why do I say just in case? I need to get rid of these guys. Or... not. I guess... What? What just happened there? It played the animation for a chest spawning, but no chest spawned. I guess that's to show that you did something right? But why? Is it an invisible chest? I can walk past this area, so I doubt it's an invisible chest. And there seems to be nothing invisible in this room. So there really was no point in coming here, and they were like tricking you to think there's a chest here, but no. There really wasn't. You play the Sun Song and kill those guys, but there's nothing. Whatever. The point in coming here is something kind of important, though. This guy will tell you something which is actually important. A lot of the other people in this dungeon, not people, more souls in this dungeon, will tell you very unimportant things like, hey, use the Lens of Truth here. And it's like, thanks, I know that. But this guy will actually teach you something very, very important. Huh? Those who have sacred feet should let the wind guide them. Then, they will be led to the hidden path. That's what they're saying. This is extremely interesting. I will be honest. I really, really enjoy this. What I'm going to want to do is, for now, I might as well just put the iron boots on, and I'll use the Lens of Truth to show you exactly what I mean. What I mean by something I didn't say already. Great wording there, but whatever. That's going to get me. Okay, that's fine. That's kind of annoying, but that's fine. If you use the Lens of Truth, you'll notice that, whoa, right there's an area that I can't really get to. There's no hookshot point, but if I don't fall down, and again, let the wind guide me, it'll easily take me all the way over there. Wind will push you much faster than you normally walking or rolling, so what you want to do is use the wind to your advantage to get you a lot of distance, because the time that you can use the hover boots is actually very, very small, I'm not going to lie. So you want to use the wind to make it so that you can get over there a lot easier. This right here is something that can be blown up. Don't ask me why, but it can be blown up, and it will get you nothing. I thought there was a small key there, but okay. Never mind. I should probably kill these guys before anything else so they don't prove to be annoying, because I don't have a lot of hearts. And I really don't want to have to deal with dying right now, because I'll be thrown back to the beginning of the dungeon. It's not going to be fun. So, actually, no. I won't be thrown back to the beginning of the dungeon, because I have plenty of fairies. By plenty, I mean plenty. I don't need to do spin attacks, so I can just... I think I can just sit down here. Or Z-target on. And then just stab. Just do... Yeah, okay. I was making the Redeads and Gibdos a lot harder than they needed to be with the Big Oron Sword, so I apologize about that. All you need to do is 2 easy slashes, which gets them done really quickly. Gets them killed really quickly. I don't know. $5, again, fun. There's something in this room I know for a fact that I'm missing. There should be a small key in here. And if I'm missing it, then I won't be able to continue on. Oh, I also didn't notice that there was actually a door there. Huh. Oh, so there was something under there. Okay. My bad. You blow that up, there's a chest that's hidden under it, or I just didn't see it. I don't know how I missed that. I don't know if it needed the lens of truth, so... I don't know. I'm blind. I feel like I need glasses, but not really. This is the area we've been to previously. I said it was a room we'd get to later on, and, well, we're here now, and we can actually open up this area. We need to pull this out, so no matter what, we will have to open... I was trying to say open and uncover at the same time. Needless to say, that didn't work out super well. You need to uncover that shortcut before continuing on with the dungeon, so it's not like you can easily miss the shortcut or anything. It's necessary to continue on. So, if you want to progress, you gotta uncover that shortcut, which is actually pretty nice. I do actually like that. Another really, really too long block pushing room. I've talked about the fact that block pushing just gets boring after a while in a previous episode, and that fact doesn't change. It's still boring here. But we've done actually quite a lot in this episode. We've gotten very, very far in the dungeon. We're almost near the end. And I've done quite a lot of things in such a short period of time. I believe I need the Scarecrow song to get all the way over there, which makes me a very, very sad boy. I actually want to see. I want to try to at least play the Scarecrow song before I quit this episode. Nope, it still doesn't work. I might have played the wrong note. I just want to make sure. Nope, it just doesn't work. There's a gold sculpture over there you can get easily with the Scarecrow song. Guess what I don't have? The Scarecrow song. Fun. But, in the next episode of The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, we'll see exactly what happens when I play the obvious... I need to play Zelda Lost and this is why I'm stopping the episode now, because I'm going crazy. I obviously need to play Zelda's Lullaby here. There's a Triforce. And next time, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, we'll continue on with the Shadow Temple and figure out exactly what happens when I play Zelda's Lullaby in this very spot. But again, that's for next time. Until then.